In this session, we will be giving you a brief overview, just in a minute or two, about what the innovation framework is, because it will, and all of you are requested to just look into it, the framework, very carefully, because it is a kind of a guideline for you in how to move from your journey on discovering a problem, ideation, product development, up to commercialization. Then we'll walk through the design thinking process, what is it is, why it is needed, with a few case studies, and the need of critical thinking uh, in implementing design thinking, and then design innovation. And of course, at the before the session ends, we will also be doing a co-creation activity. So, according to Mr. Dell, COE and founder of Dell, said that you don't have to be a genius or a visionary or even a college graduate to be successful. You just need a framework and a dream. So basically, innovation framework enables innovators and entrepreneurs like you to implement and commercialize ideas. Like most of you mentioned here, that either you are in the process of ideation, you are in the process of doing something, you want to have your own startups, and some of you also have ideas, and some of you not only have idea, they have implemented a particular uh, process design, but still somewhere they find that their innovation is not properly recognized. So maybe in the coming slides you will come to know that where exactly you fit from the innovation framework. Mean we can do a 3-minute exercise here quickly, where you can identify where you exactly stand in the innovation framework. So basically, it has 5 stages: the discover stage, ideation stage, development stage, validation stage, and the commercialization stage. In the discovery stage, basically, you sense around you, in your society, in your state, in your country, around the globe, about various problems. Now, these problems are more of social in nature. It may be related to poverty, it may be related to environment. Then the skills which you require are, you have to be focused, disciplined, and the most important skill here which you'll need is the skill to listen and observe carefully. Observe the people who are in problem, observe the people who are the solution providers, and then identify the gap between the people who want the solution and people who are the solution providers. And this could be done through techniques like interview, personas, asking questions, what, how, why, and designing a journey map, empathy map. All sort of tools are available. And what is the outcome of this stages? That you find the root cause and define the problem. That is creation of a problem statement. I hope everyone has understood this phase. Similarly, from creation of a statement, we move to the ideation stage. Now, in this ideation stage, basically, ideas flow from all direction, and but we have to focus on the ideas which are viable, feasible, and desirable, and they are successful business ideas. The mindset is that you have to keep your mind open, let ideas flow from all directions, but you have to be creative. You have to apply your critical thinking skills, apply divergent thinking and convergent thinking tools like brainstorming, brain writing, scamper techniques are also applied here. And at the end, you come up with a new and viable business idea, which you take and further process and try to develop a proof of concept prototype. Now, while here you create a prototype, you have to keep on testing it also. And maybe there were, say, you identified one idea, but there were other ideas also at the back as a plan A, B, C, D. And if this particular idea somehow during the testing phase you found out that it has failed miserably, or it will not be, you will not be able to implement it up to the grassroots, then maybe you have to fall back upon your plan B, C, and D, and so on. This is kind of an iteration which goes on until unless the proper testing is done, and a kind of a, you are able to create a minimum viable product. And this also requires a kind of a market research. You will be required to develop a business model canvas and business plan. Then once you develop the prototype, proof of concept, you will validate it. How you will validate? You will validate by testing it in the market. While you were testing it as a prototype, you were testing with a closed group of customers, but now you will put it to the market, you will put it to a pilot test. Based on the feedback, you will develop a business plan and a plan which will give you the directions in how to release your product to the market. So outcome will be demonstration of the product, process or service, and a kind of an initial customer acceptance. That is, attraction will be there. Then in the commercialization, basically when you launch your product, yeah, you will require the skills for value creation, digital marketing. Some of you mentioned that you need such kind of trainings. So certainly after this workshop, as I mentioned earlier, that all of you who want to us to facilitate you, to provide a kind of a hand holding to you in your journey, we will certainly facilitate, and we may provide different kind of training to you according to your needs. And then as an outcome, you will be launching a new product or service or implement a new process, and the revenue generation take place. Now, I would like to ask each one of you, or whom you want to answer, is if you could tell me out of these five stages where you are right now, because this will also enable us in facilitating you in your journey further. Dr. Sampath?
Yeah, I'm in the stage of implementation, ma'am. And mostly, I'm been trying to contact governments, and because education is held with mostly in governments, and without government permission, I cannot do anything. So the my reforms that I'm talking about in education field is has to be validated by the government, state governments, and central government, whom I've been in touch with, and maybe soon I will get a contract also from the United Nations, and
Wonderful. So basically, you are on the launch stage now. Once
correct,
you get approvals, then you are in the launch stage.
correct.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Prabhakar. Mr. Prabhakar Rao, you raised your hand. You're not audible. Mr. Prabhakar. Mr. Dilpreet Singh, you raised your hand. Is your mic working now? Mr. Devdas?
Hello, madam.
Yeah.
Madam,
Mr. Prabhakar, you're not audible. You people can also type in the chat box. Mr. Prabhakar, you're not audible. Anyone else?
Hello, ma'am. Am I
Yeah.
audible?
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. I think I am right now in a stage of development right now because as per my current job role and everything, I think I require a development right now because I find I am been interacting with the government officials, with the public sector and everyone, and find I'm not learning anything new. I am doing the same job every day. So development and implementation is the thing which will be required right now to learn new things and to learn and to explore new ideas.
Okay. Mr. Reddy? Mr. Reddy, are you there?
Yeah,
Yeah. So, where do you place yourself in this innovation framework? Whether you are at
um,
the discovery stage
m-
or ideation?
my aim is counseling my clients in my profession as I am doing advocacy as an advocate in Kakinada,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in cases relating to domestic violation cases, the divorce cases, because there are more cases in nowadays.
Mm.
Thank you. That's why I have to utilize this program in my
Mm.
profession.
Okay. Wonderful. Anyone else? Mr. Prabhakar, if you may text your.
Madam, are you able to listen? Are
Yes,
you?
yes, yes. हाँ बोलिए.
Madam, I registered my company, madam, private limited company, one person company, madam. It's a food processing company because there is a lot of wastage of food post harvesting. I wish to address that problem, madam, by processing that food, which can be used nearly after 9 months and 1 year. After the post harvest, I wish to reduce the post harvest wastage, madam. That is my business idea, madam, especially in vegetable sector, madam.
Wonderful, wonderful. So now we move further and let us understand what this design thinking is and why is it important and where to use it. Okay, so these are the two figures. What are your perception on looking at these figures? Yeah, Miss Mirali,
The first one is not clear, the second one is clear.
not clear and clear. Okay. Other observations, please.
Yeah, one is I think the figure one indicates that there is simply some ideas in the in mind to how to innovate or how to integrate some problems that is there and
Mm,
solve them, uh, maybe socially or other ways
mm,
of doing it. And the second figure shows it's a
mm.
formation and taking shape in how we can implement it.
Yeah, you are quite close, 80% close. Okay.
Ma'am,
Fig- yeah.
first figure shows, first figure indicates
May
that
I,
the
ma'am?
information which is available
Uh,
is very vast
uh,
and it is unorganized due to lack of ideas
uh,
and strategies.
uh,
Whereas the second figure shows that the information which is available is very well managed.
mm.
It has a strategy,
Okay.
and due to that, it is very simple to understand
Mm.
and it is very much clear for a beginner or for a normal people to understand without any technical or without any jargons included in it.
Okay. Dr. Ravi Shankar?
Ma'am, everyone will have their own perceptions. Like for me,
Certainly.
it gives me different ideas. One of the idea I can share with you, like we have a lot of resources. The first one indicates the point. The point here is not that we have resources. The first figure is the person is also having a lot of resource, and the second figure also shows the person having also a lot of resource. But the point here is having a lot of resource is not the point. How to use the available resource, that is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
So how
Yeah, you
effectively you
have a
can use the
quite different
available
perception.
resource.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Good reply. Mr. Prabhakar, you also want to say something? You have raised your hand.
Hello, madam. I think there is some gap in government schemes and their implementation at the field level, madam. Actually, there are a lot of schemes which offer loan to entrepreneurs, MSMEs, etc., madam. But
Mhm.
There is a very high. I personally experienced it in my last 1 year, madam, in my business career. So there is a need for to fill that gap, madam, about government rules and their actual implementation. We need some guidance in that.
Okay, so this is a total different perception, but a good one. Then they'll please check that figure 2 is planned and figure 1 is a. So basically, all of you tried and gave your perceptions, but what we would like to say from this image is that the left hand side image is a kind of a very complex situation. I'll not say complicated, but it's a complex situation which involves kind of a human centric problem. And these problems, as you can see with the mess which one of you mentioned, is not well defined. And we do not have any significant data from the past, so that prediction using analytics could be made. So we cannot predict the future solution to these kind of problems, and there is no straightforward solution to it. For example, you may say that suppose if you lost the key for a lock, either you will get the duplicate key, and if that is not available, you will simply say, okay, break the lock. If the break the lock option is not also possible, you will simply try to remove the latch, and in a way you can open the door. But these problems are not that simple. Why? Because somewhere they involve humans. And when humans are involved, then the design, the way to approach the problem, the way to find the solution is through them. And here, as you can see, that the second picture shows, as very well mentioned by a few of you, that it is more structured, well planned, is that through the design thinking process, this kind of a complex situation which you are seeing on the left hand side gets resolved into a very well organized plan structure through the design thinking process. Now, I'll discuss a few case studies and situations with you to make you better understand about this process rather than going directly into the various stages of the process. So, there's a village in a far flung area where the villagers are falling ill because of drinking contaminated water. Now, you know that water contamination is also one of major problems which we are facing, in particularly in the Indian context. So these villagers, they drink the contaminated water from the pond, which is also some 3 to 5 kilometers away from their village. So what happened is that looking at their problem, what the local authorities did is that they built a water tank, and the water tank is only half kilometer away from their village. In fact, there are a cluster of villages, and the tank is not more than half kilometer away from the cluster of villages. And the condition is just to take out the cost of the water tank. The villagers are requested that they will be have to pay rupees 5 per 10 liter of water. So, prima facie, this is a wonderful solution that water tank has been installed, and they are just required to give 5 rupees per 10 liter water. And this is not far away, it is only half kilometer away. But even then, maximum villagers were not using the clean water, rather, they are managing water from the pond which has contaminated water. So, why this situation? Yeah, I just showed you a glimpse of the slide. Now let us discuss. Any one of you, why this situation arose? Mr. Shashi?
Yes, ma'am. I guess there would be something traditionally related to this going to fetch water from that pond. Just like it can be a special time for the villagers when they are having that spare time to discuss their situation, their maybe daily lives with different people whom they are visiting the pond with. So that kind of personal space or some personal tradition that they are following, and they're used to it, and no behavioral change work has been done into that end to change that thing initially, but just the setting up this water tank is kind of a disruption, but it hasn't been incited into the villagers, I guess.
Yeah, wonderful perception. Anyone else? Yeah, Mr. Reddy. Mr. Arjit?
Madam, it's free of cost, pond water. They need not required to pay any. And the income source of villagers, that money they have to pay, it has some their budget, out of budget. They have to pay it for getting fresh
Very
water.
true.
That's a financial problem here.
Yeah. Any other problem?
There could be one more
Yes.
possibility, ma'am.
Yeah.
They might be having some filtration unit or some sort of, pot sort of thing at home, wherein they don't require the filtered water. They
Mm-hmm.
might be doing it home, so at free of cost, they are going to get the water. And secondly, they might be going in groups, spending some time social networking, and they might be coming together, I believe.
Yeah. Lot of hands are now put. So what to do? Ask one by one. Mr. Dilpreet. Okay, you have suggested that introduction of something new which is impossible at initial stage. First of all, nothing is impossible, everything is possible, but yeah, certainly at the initial stage there might be certain hesitations, certain challenges. Yeah, Mr. Reddy, you want to say something?
Yeah, there are a number of villages that are using tanks. No, madam. Now they are now polluted because of the industries are surround the villages. The polluted water is coming to the tanks. But the administrators, they are neglecting the polluted water, and they are selling the water as it is, and people are utilizing the water as it is, and they are facing many problems in villages.
Yeah. Yeah, difficult is a correct word. So let us see what was the outcome and why this situation arose. Now, this is a different perception here that it was not easy for the villagers, especially the ladies of the house, to walk on the road that led to the water tank carrying water way back home. Second thing, as mentioned by others also, that the villagers did not require 10 liters of water per day, and neither they were ready to store extra water at home, nor they were ready to pay rupees 5 for it. So the local authorities, what happened is that they did not consult the need and convenience of the villagers. They took their own point of view. And now this is the crux of today's session. And that is from making people want things to making things people want. Like all of us are aware that the laptops and desktops penetration was not that successful than that of the mobile phones. So what happened is that it was something which was not suitable or not acceptable to all, but now the mobile device is one that has reached up to the grassroots. So it is some kind of making things people want. Here are another few examples. A simple cup with saucer and a cup with a place to keep the biscuits. It is quite handy and for to be used in office or say if you've gone somewhere out. This is something which is quite handy. The remote control. Maybe many of us have not even used all the buttons of the remote control on the left hand side. And now we have a very simple remote control with a few clicks. We reach the point wherever we want to go. A mini PC. Now, in the last session, we had discussed about a mini PC, a kind of a device, if was available, which is very small, handy, and we could just travel with it. And nowadays, we have these virtual keyboards, virtual monitors, and through this PC, the device of the virtual keyboard. Uh, we can travel along with our PCs. If we don't need to carry our laptops, with this, it is possible. Then these air cycles. Initially, this design on the left hand side was quite appreciated, but then it was found out that there are many elderly people who are not able to use these air cycles, and in a way, it is relating directly to the health issues, and they are developing diseases like diabetes and hypertension. So now on the right hand side, you can see kind of a air cycle where they can comfortably sit on their sofas and chair and perform the same activity which was earlier done by the air cycle. So this is quite convenient to them. And then this is the shoes. These are the normal shoes, and now this is a shoe which claims that it enables you to walk faster, run quicker. Then the BP monitoring machine. Hypertension is a major problem around the globe and specifically in our country. So it was very difficult for the people suffering with hypertension to carry their electronic BP machine or the manual BP machine, and now things are measurable through the mobile device. And for sugar testing also, it's been experimented and it will be soon launched in the market. So when we see these kind of products, these kind of solutions, uh, the idea behind them is that the people who are launching these products, they basically analyze the needs, the requirements, the market gap, and accordingly bring the products, and that is why these products are very successful also. Steve Jobs said that design is not just what it looks like and how it feels, design is how it works. And that is why the Apple products which we have in market is something which everyone wants to have, not because of Apple so-called, but because of the design per se and the ease of use which Apple devices and the interfaces and the software bring to us. Now I will take you through a case study where you will actually see how design thinking process is being followed. It is the case study of the good kitchen story. This is this challenge was faced by the government of Denmark, where the aging of population became challenge. Why it became challenge? Because what happened is that in a particular city or a district, around about 1,25,000 senior citizens, they were somehow required assistance. They were not able to take personal care of themselves. They were not able to prepare the full food, and so the government took the responsibility of serving the senior citizens and providing them meals in quite subsidized rate. So initially, it was a good idea. It worked on well. But what happened is that after a few years, they took a survey and they found out that the 60% of the senior citizens, which lived in a kind of an assisted living, had poor nutrition, and 20% were malnutrition. Uh, Now, what was happening is that since they had a very poor nutritional conditions, it was getting difficult for the adults to take care of themselves, and they were not able to perform their daily activities and tasks, which directly meant that the adults were living a kind of very deteriorated quality life, And the government felt that in future they will require more assistance and support. So this is kind of a vicious circle, which from this particular feedback they came to know. The other finding was that the meal service providers, specifically the people in the kitchen, uh, they were not able to accommodate the seniors' individual needs and wishes. They had a simple menu with hardly much variations, and thus, in a way, it was not accepted by the senior citizen to eat that kind of a meal daily. And these people also, because of certain constraints, which we'll come to know later, were not able to provide different types of uh, menu. So basically, here there are three entities in this particular challenge which we are going through. One are the senior citizens who are provided assisted living. Other one are the kitchen staff or the meal service providers. And the third one is the Danish municipality. So what happened is that after reviewing this data and looking at the growing social problems, the Danish municipality decided to hire the idea and design agency Hatch and Bloom to facilitate them in coming out with a creative solution, and which at least will resolve the problems faced by the Danish municipality as well as the senior citizens. They were of the perception. See how perception matters, and how by just getting the feedback and sitting at your own office or at your own place, you do not get the 360-degree view. So they perceived that since high quality food is being already offered to the elderly clients, so now what they need to do is that they need to change some here and there in the menu, and it should work. And so they thought that this project is straightforward, and it could be completed within a few days. But was it the case? Let us look what the type of meals which were delivered. So there were two types of meals. Number one was the refrigerated and vacuum packed food. So this type of food delivered to citizens once a week, and it had a shelf life of 2 weeks. The other one was the hot meals, which meant that this kind of meal is delivered to the citizens on day-to-day basis. So now, as a design agency, they try to contact and explore the other side issues. That is the end, basically the end customers. So they dwell deep into the various needs, the preferences, styles, and behavior of the senior citizens. And what they did is that they use this journey map. Now, the journey mapping tool is a very effective tool, as it enabled them to trace the experience of elderly from beginning to end. As it trace whether it is from the morning, during the day, in the evening, in the night, what were they doing, what were they thinking, and what were they feeling. So this journey mapping tool basically follows a customer or stakeholder as they receive a product or service or go through a process. And you will be surprised to know that there are a lot of unarticulated needs, and some kind of an emotional side of a problem which otherwise is not visible, even if you take feedback surveys, was visible here and were found out to be very valuable. And it also kind of uncovers the hidden opportunities which are available right there to create better value for our end users. So during the process which they followed for utilizing the journey mapping tool to the best is that they rode with the food service employees who delivered the meal. They accompanied them into the homes of the elderly people. They observed them while they were preparing the food or adding ingredients or setting the table, and finally, even while they were eating the meals. And they observed their behavior, they observed what were the needs and what were the preferences and what were the styles. On the other hand, they also interviewed the kitchen supervisor just to understand what is the food preparation process. Now, while interacting with the kitchen manager, there were some very interesting facts which came out, which otherwise even the Danish municipality was not aware of. And it was that working in a public service kitchen was a low status job which was considered in their district. So, the kitchen employees were quite demoralized and unmotivated, and they were working for the sake of working. So, basically, after in depth interviews, observations, and the journey mapping, which the agency had done, some of the findings which came out, which the most important one is that there was a total disconnect between the senior citizens and the kitchen staff. And there were a lot of emotional need which was not met. At the end of the senior citizens, the problems which they discovered were that they would have loved to, take help or support from their family members for their personal needs, for their hygienic needs. But they considered a social stigma of receiving the assistance from others, specifically from the people who were sent by the government. And they missed their family. This caused them embarrassment. And they had no choice for food. Whatever was provided to them, whether it was the packaged one or whether it was the hot meals on day-to-day basis, they had to give and they had to eat. And then they had to eat alone. They missed their family members. On the other hand, the kitchen staff, they had a low status job, and they also they had some kind of an economic and logistical constraints which preventing them from doing something more interesting, though they certainly cooked food, but still the way they wanted to experiment, that was not possible. But there was the positive side of the story also, that the senior citizens were provided assisted living. They were responsible and capable in the kitchen. They had a key sense of seasons and positive association with seasonal food. Like they knew when to use the strawberries, when to use apple, when to use mangoes, and how the mix and match they can do while the food is being offered to them. And they could also customize their meals. And the kitchen workers were also they cared for them and they wanted to do a good job. So where the problem is, so this is the waters stage which was completed. In this stage, basically, we focus on the current needs of our customers, of our end users. We see what are the obstacles that we want to overcome. It gives us insights into what our stakeholders are looking for. And obviously, from this what if stage, we will not directly jump into the conclusion. We will then start the what if stage. Basically, in the what if stage, we will cover the various possibilities, and we will also look how to overcome the constraints which are listed out in our previous section. So what happened is that the design agency identified broader group of stakeholders like public officials, volunteers, experts in elderly issues, kitchen workers and employees of residential care facilities. And they had the vision to co-create the solution along with these stakeholders. For this, they also thought actually that the stakeholders will in a way help them in understanding the nature of the challenges and practicing and participating in creating a new and better meal service. So they conducted a series of workshops. They reviewed and analyzed the challenges, issues, and opportunities that come out from what is stage, develop insights and designed criteria to form idea generation through the brainstorming process. So they asked the participants to think of the kitchen as a restaurant. So, they gave an impetus, a kind of a creative thought that just change the thought of a kitchen into a restaurant, and now try to look kitchen as a restaurant. So as soon as this idea was given to them, they become very proactive, because now the kitchen workers were no more only kitchen workers, they were chefs, and the delivery people are the waiters. And they came up with few ideas during these workshops, like to improve the vehicle used for delivery, as now the delivery people were the waiters. So they put attention on them also for the new, to provide new uniform for employees, using newsletters and comment cards as a feedback mechanism as well as a publicity mechanism, and also describing a meal on the menu. Because what happened is that for in the present situation, like for a particular meal, say liver, potatoes, and sauce. Now this is not something which is very attractive or sounds tempting. So they wanted to change the way the description of the meal is given. And through this workshop, what happened is the participants of the workshop also started wondering. So they came up with ideas that why can't we look for a kind of an actual restaurant menu, and why we can't we describe the menu in very different ways, in very new ways, which makes them tempted to eat the food. So from this what if, they move to the what wow stage. And during the third workshop, it was all about the testing the ideas which came up from the previous workshops rather than generating new ideas. For example, they experimented with 3 different variants of the menu. They showed the participants 3 different versions of the menu, and they were different in terms of color, typography, and picture. So basically, the concepts which appear to be abstract during the ideation stage, they tried to, using the visualization technique, they tried to concretize the abstract concepts. Then they moved on to the what works stage. This is basically the prototype and testing stage. So they tested prototypes with different combinations, and the way the food is actually presented to the customers, that is our senior citizens. So as you can see in the picture, the experiments, these kind of experiments actually led to another project which required design innovation in some quick packaging, some design changing, mixing things together, so that they could provide modular meals where components were separated instead of being mixed together as done in the earlier case. So they had new menus, new uniforms for employees, and a new name, the Good Kitchen. They changed the name. And a new communication channel was also developed using newsletters and comment cards, which was very much loved by the elderlies. And today there is a good connect between senior citizen and the kitchen staff. And the senior citizen exactly know which kitchen staff is preparing what for them. And in a way, both share a kind of a very personal and professional relationship. And it has given immense satisfaction to both the senior citizens as well as the kitchen staff, because now there is a kind of a connect between them. And as a result of this, 500% there was an increase in 500% as far as the meal orders were concerned, and this was in the first week alone. So basically, from this case study, what the main points which came out were that there was a shift in employees' perception of themselves and their work. The kitchen workers were more satisfied and motivated, and the customers, the end users, that is the senior citizen, they were happier with their food. And every one of us know, जैसा अन्न होता है वैसा मन होता है. And so if they are happy eating, then certainly their mind is happy. If their mind is happy, then their body and soul are also happy. So through this example, basically, I tried to take you through the design thinking process, which has 5 stages. First stage is empathize, in which we observe and learn from the end users, our customers. In this case, it was the elderly citizens. And here, in fact, the service provider were also our kind of end user. Once we empathize, we define the problem. After defining the problem through various ideation techniques like brainstorming, brainwriting, Scamper, ideas are generated. Prototypes are developed. They could be in form of proof of concept or a kind of storyboards. And it could be a kind of a paper pen image also. And the reason for developing the prototype is that, once a prototype is developed, it could be tested with our end users. And if there is any flaw, it could immediately again be developed and retested, so that before it reaches the state of the minimal viable product, we have a kind of a feedback of what will run in the market and what not. And the what is, what if, what was, and what work stages maps with the empathize and define stage. What if maps with the ideation stage. What was matches with the prototype, and what work matches with the test stage. So now I have a question for all of you. Can you especially for the alumni students as well as the students who are currently pursuing their degree or certificate from IGNOU, can you in one sentence explain a need which you feel while pursuing your program in IGNOU? We have around about 18 minutes left. Yeah. Dr.
Can you please
Ravi
repeat
Shankar?
the question?
The question
Can you
is
please
that
repeat the question,
while
ma'am?
you are pursuing your program in IGNOU, specifically you have earlier also done MBA, and while you are pursuing this program, what is that one thing which you feel is the need while you are pursuing this program? It could be related to material, it could be related to assignment, it could be related to examination, or any other.
Okay.
Mirali says,
So for me, ma'am, like
yeah.
For me, ma'am, like it was like gaining in-depth knowledge so that I can find ways to directly apply into my work. Like for example, like I have I am already into this field of counseling and psychology, and I have my PhD in psychology. Now I am doing a 6-month certificate course. This is an add-on advantage for me, so that I can enhance my knowledge in different domains, because counseling is a vast area. You can do counseling with adolescents, you can do counseling with the families, you can do counseling with the different people. But presently I'm doing a certificate course in adolescent counseling, so that what I really wanted is gain as much as possible from that particular course and apply directly to my domain. That was my idea, ma'am. So I think
Okay.
I'm able to do it from the courses.
Oh, wonderful. So basically, your need is met.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dilpreet?
It is.
Yeah. Mr. Dilpreet, you have raised hand. Uh, Mirali says, be independent. Independent in what sense, Mirali?
Financial.
No, but need from the program which you are pursuing right now. Is there any specific need which you feel like it was mentioned by Anjali that she wants to attempt exams many times?
Ma'am, many exams like UPSC, IB, CS, CDS, different types of government exams.
So, matlab, what is your need as per the IGNO program? Are you fully satisfied, or you feel that there is some need which is yet unmet?
Ma'am, IGNO is time saving for me.
Okay, wonderful. Anyone else? Mr. Arjit?
Yes, madam. It is very much competitive world, and one has to upgrade yourself from time to time. And IGNU is quite supportive. It's online mode, and you can continue your study parallelly doing your job. So that's why I have joined IGNU, and I'm very
Wonderful.
satisfied.
Wonderful. Mr. Prabhakar?
Madam, I already started my venture, madam, my new company. In that, I have somewhat a theoretical knowledge, or say, not exactly theoretical. I have ground knowledge, and to know more about the government procedures and some entrepreneur abilities, and the need and abilities to face a situation, and so on. To know these particular skills of an entrepreneur, I wish to join the course, madam. MA in entrepreneurship, madam.
Mr. Reddy?
Yeah, this is a good subject. Nowadays, senior citizens are facing very bad in the society. More having attaining the age of 60 years and above, the senior citizens' welfare will face many problems. More doctors should be needed to care treatment of diseases like BP, sugar, and heart diseases. The young people are completely neglecting nowadays due to some problems of them. The government should take steps to establish more senior citizen homes, better nutritious food and medicines also to be given every time. Recreation should be provided in the field of religion also. The senior citizens are feeling alone. More voluntary organizations should assist them to the needy. The family members should contact them frequently and talk freely with them so that they can gain relief in rest of their life. This is a good program, and this program will be utilized to psychology people and doctors also nowadays. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy. Anyone else would like to mention?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yeah.
IGNO provides a very convenient and flexible prototype to learn something. I mean to say that if a person in any age group, like he is married, he is working. So IGNOU do not IGNOU serve a notice that at any point of time, any point of age, you are open to learn anything. If the same thing happens in colleges, then people will not be that much convenient to visit the college, have some classes, and learn something. But with IGNOU, it is very convenient for us. Even we are working, we are investing something in us, and IGNOU is helping us to invest that in us. Like if a person of 60 years is also allowed to allowed to learn, and housewives and from any part of the country, if the subject or if that certification is not available in that area, IGNOU provides to learn sitting in any corner of the world, and gain that certificate and gain that experience. This is what IGNOU provides.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dev. Now, moving further, we discussed in depth about the design thinking, and through case study, we actually I hope that you also learned the various stages and processes, and how to solve a complex problem using the design thinking tool, which is basically a problem solving tool. But design thinking in itself is nothing without critical thinking. आप में से मुझे कोई बताएंगे कि कब ऐसा हुआ होगा कि आपने कॉइन उछाल के डिसीजन लिए होंगे? वो कौन से डिसीजन होते थे जब आप कॉइन उछाल के डिसाइड करते थे किसी चीज के बारे में? कोई बताएगा अगर किसी को याद है तो?
Ma'am, batting, bowling in cricket.
अपनी लाइफ का कोई एग्जांपल दीजिए.
मैम फॉर एन एग्जांपल, व्हेन देयर आर नॉट मेनी ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल, जहाँ पे हमारे पास टाइम कम है, एंड वी आर इन अ सिचुएशन वेयर वी नीड टू डू और डाई. In that situation, we have always take a decision by flipping a coin kind of thing.
क्या आप कॉम्प्लेक्स सिचुएशंस में फ्लिपिंग कॉइन के थ्रू वर्क कर सकते हैं?
Up to some extent, yes, we can.
तो आप कॉइन फ्लिप करके अपना कोई भी बिजनेस डिसीजन ले लेंगे?
Not in case of
Madam,
business
can you
decision,
please
ma'am.
repeat the question, madam? I can't
हाँ.
understand Hindi.
Okay, what I
I
meant to
can't understand
say,
Hindi,
ask
madam.
here is that have you ever flipped the coin while taking a decision, maybe in your school days, maybe in your college days?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No,
So
no, no.
basically my point of asking this question was that in order to make decisions, correct decisions in life, critical thinking is very important. And you might have observed that during every stage of the design thinking process, wherever we were analyzing, wherever we were reviewing, basically we were using the critical thinking process only, where what we do is that we have questions, we analyze them, we interpret them, we evaluate them, and then make judgment. Basically, good critical thinking is about making reliable judgment based on reliable information, not like flipping the coin. And to foster innovation, specifically when you have to deliver a customer-centric solution, blending of design thinking with critical thinking becomes very essential. So speaking of in the design thinking context, critical thinking is a method basically to evaluate, analyze the problems, ideas, and different situations to build a clear understanding before reaching to the optimal solution. See, design thinking also, as we observed, is a process that involves stages of observation, empathy, then problem formulation, then deduction of solutions, then testing, and based on the testing, if some alteration in the prototype is required, we also do that. and then we reiterate. So critical thinking becomes an integral component in every part of the design thinking process. In fact, to have an effective design thinking work, we need to have critical and creative thinking very much in place. Basically, in design thinking styles, it is quite popular, and it takes part in the various stages of the design thinking process. Now the time, we have 6 minutes left, so a very small exercise for you. Uh, what can you get from this image? What is the impression that you get from this image? Any idea?
It's an
Ma'am, it
animation, ma'am.
represents, yeah, it represents that whatever the situation will be, you should always be active and you should always be positive in any scenario.
Okay. What else? Some real life. It is related to some real life problem. 1 minute.
It's a pirate, ma'am. It's a pirate. It's a ship,
Yeah.
and the ship is being taken over by a pirate.
Very true. Wonderful. Anything else?
I think that the ship is wrecked, ma'am, or either it's been attacked because it's almost destroyed.
Very true. You are completely immersed into it. Wonderful. And what about this? Any idea after looking this image? Any vague idea which might be quite different from what you see?
It's a CT scanner, kind of a CT scan, or
Yeah, it is a CT scanner. So basically, as there is less time, what I would like to mention here in a short is that the kids, they were terrified of getting MRIs done. So GE came out with a brilliant solution, and these kids, like 80% of the kids were sedated because otherwise MRI could not take place. It takes around about 40 to 45 minutes. So what Dietz from GE did was that he created a kind of, I'll not discuss all these in details, but he created a kind of a prototype where, what he did, that the physical appearance of the CT scanner was completely changed. The room and everything was completely changed, though the internal technology of that scanner remained the same. And by emphasizing on this, this CT scan became a play like a thing for children. And they also nowadays provide these smart glasses, so they can watch movies with headphones. And in the initial days, what they did is that they recreated this entire scene where the when they are put into the CT scan, and when there is a voice, as many of not many, but those who have gone through it might be knowing, and it's quite disturbing. So they will recreate a scene that now there is this bomb is coming, and so it is now you can feel like this. And then they recreated that entire pirate story. So the kids were busy in that, and while their MRI used to take place. And now they put glasses with the favorite movies of the kids, and while they are watching, their MRI is being done. And this was a very successful story. We do have a YouTube link which we will give you later on, and you can watch. So basically, through these case studies, what we found out is a very common thing is that for innovations to happen and to go to the market, it is very important we have to look the ideas which are in our mind from the point of view of desirability, feasibility, and viability. Whether the people for whom we are going to develop the solution want it or not, whether the technology which we are going to use to develop the solution or the service or the product is feasible or not, in the sense, for example, if today we talk of a technology which we are expecting to come in 2040, there is no point in working on that idea. That can be kept on hold, and maybe later on when the technology is available, we can do that. The other thing is business viability, which is very important, because here the time is also important. Whether you have the financial resources or not, how much resources are required, and ultimately whether it will lead in profitability model or not.